If you let them choose, they will read. Good evening and welcome to the December edition of Curriculum Connection. I'm Medford's Curriculum Director, Laura Lundy. Tonight we will be exploring how one simple change has created a renewed excitement about reading at the high school.
We are focusing less on the novel or the book itself and more on, for instance, we're going to teach theme. The kids are allowed to pick the book. We teach the concept, but they're allowed to choose the book that fits within the concept.
If you let them choose, they will read. Trying new ideas, no matter how simple they sound, is a risk. Just as the character in the movie Field of Dreams took a risk by building a baseball field in his backyard, Medford English teachers have also taken a risk this year, a risk that has made a tremendous impact. So much so that high school media specialist Pat Eloranta says that the number of library books checked out this November is up 249% over last year.
We've been very busy recommending books to kids, trying to get the right book in their hands so that they have a good experience with their reading. And we've also seen a huge increase in our circulation. I looked back at our records from a year ago, and in September '09, comparing that to September 2010, our circulation of fiction and paperbacks went down 15%. When we instituted this free choice reading, October's numbers went up 49%, and November's really blew us away. We went up 249% from the previous year. So we have an explosion of reading, which is great, and it's made our job fun and exciting to get those books in the kids' hands.
As part of the Communication Arts curriculum cycle, high school English teachers researched how to improve reading instruction. They took part in a one-day on-site workshop, and then over the summer they read the book, The Book Whisperer. This year, during their professional learning community time, the English team changed from the old model of teaching with one book.
You would have had a book, for instance, Old Man in the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. You would have talked about the theme within that book. The kids would have read that book. You would have tested on that book, and everything would have revolved around that. It's very teacher-driven. Now what we're doing is we talk about theme, but they do it in the context of a book of their choosing. And what I have seen and what I'm most excited about is I always have a writing portion incorporated with it, and because they're connected more to the book, their writing is improving because they're writing about things they care about, they're writing about things they know, so they write about theme and it means something to them, and so not only is the reading improving, but the writing is improving.
As evidenced by the increase in book circulation, kids are excited about the change.
It would be something that I'd have to do on my own, and I didn't think it would take time for it, but I like it.
Would you consider yourself an avid reader, like you like to read a lot?
If it's books that I'm interested in, like stuff that revolves around me, I like it. But if we're forced to read something, I don't think I would enjoy that very much.
I like it because then you actually have to read something you like instead of something she always picks for you to read.
Along with allowing students to choose their own books, teachers have also changed the way they assess students' knowledge of the book. Instead of quizzes and worksheets, teachers are using journals and interviews.
We've done a couple different things. We've incorporated journals. I do that particularly with my freshmen and sophomores, where they write about what they're reading as they're reading. The other tool that we've really found is helpful is called an exit interview. It's a one-on-one conference with between teacher and student, and just by body language and how they respond, you can tell if they've read the book or not. We have some questions that are real pointed and some that are real open-ended, and they get to share with us what they found out about the book.
Allowing students to choose their own books and giving time for students to discuss what they've read has created an environment where kids are not only reading more, but are recommending books to other students.
We've also had to order more books because we don't have enough copies of really popular titles. Students are starting to recommend titles to each other, so they're keeping track in our new Destiny Card catalog. They can recommend them electronically, they can make friends and look at each other's reading lists, they can recommend books for me to buy, and they've been using those tools to keep this going.
It's neat having conversations with the kids about the books that they're reading, and just hearing the conversations that students have with each other. Like the other day I had one student feverishly writing something down on his hand, and I said, Joel, what are you writing down? He said, oh, well, Eric just recommended a book for me and I didn't want to forget the title, so he was writing it down. So that was neat to see. And just to have non-readers come into my classroom and be, excited about reading and sit down right away because they want to finish their book. I mean, I had one student, I asked him, I said, well, what are you doing? He goes, I really want to finish this book. It's a great book. And this was a student that said he wasn't much of a reader before that. So to see those things happening is great.
As much as things change, other things stay the same. Mrs. Hakinen believes that her department has found a healthy balance between choice and teaching students the classics.
I'd like to think that right now we have a healthy balance between the two. We're not going to throw out our classic literature units because there's a time and a place for that, okay? That's where you dig deeper into the literature. But what we'd love to see is students doing that with their own reading. So yeah, we still have Romeo and Juliet.
Both teachers and students agree that this change has been a good one. In order to prove its success, Mrs. Eloranta says she'll be looking for an increase in summer book circulation. And
one of the things that I'm going to be watching for, one of my goals, is when a student comes in for a recommendation from me, if they start asking for a good book instead of a short book, I'll know that we've made our goal.
if you let them choose, they will read. Medford's high school English teachers are finding the truth in this statement, and students are benefiting from the result. For Curriculum Connection, I'm Laura Lundy.